So with the cutbacks, it's now becoming obvious. And so more people are now looking for, how do we do this ourselves? And when you look for it, you'll find that every aspect of the transformation that needs to be done is already being worked on. There are organizations working on every aspect of it. I'm seeing organizations working on it. Now, it is just a matter of coordinating all of this and creating a coherent solution that everyone can get behind to help. So you get into that mindset of giving more than you're taking. That is not a transaction anymore. It's a gift that you're giving. Right? And people just automatically fall into it. You bring people and drop them into that place. They know the game we are playing, and they play it.
So it's an abundance mindset, which is an attitude as much as anything, right?
Right.
It's how you perceive your life as much as, where I'm from, we have more than enough, but there's so many people who think they don't have enough, where there are places where they have what appears to be just the basics.
Welcome to the Better Life for Animals podcast, where we amplify the voices of animal advocates, sanctuaries, and changemakers working toward a kinder, more compassionate world. Through powerful stories and expert insights, we shine a light on the efforts to rescue, protect, and advocate for animals. Be sure to subscribe wherever you're watching or listening. Every follower helps us reach more people. And support animal sanctuaries. Enjoy the conversation.
Dr. Sailesh Rao is a renowned figure in the fields of information systems and climate activism. With a PhD from Stanford University, he has made significant contributions to the development of internet infrastructure, including the invention of the digital signal processing protocol for gigabit Ethernet. In 2006, he shifted his focus to addressing nature and climate crisis, becoming the author of several books and an executive producer of documentaries that shed light on the environmental issues. Recognized as a climate hero by The Guardian newspaper in 2023, Dr. Sailesh continues to advocate for societal change and combat climate change. Dr. Sailesh, it is just wonderful having you on the show. Thank you for doing this.
Well, thank you for having me.
You have been advocating compassion as a way to heal the planet for decades. It's 2025. How are we doing?
Well, when you look for it, it's there.
Okay.
And you can see that people are beginning to realize that there is no other way out. But if you look for the other side, also you see it. Because you see, in nature, you always have this duality before one takes over. And so the fact that there is so much turbulence going on in the current system is an indication that people are looking for solutions now for what ails us.
I love that. Because like you, I believe that we need to focus on suffering. Can you elaborate on how we do address this disconnect between the daily actions and our daily actions and the suffering of animals?
Yeah, they are the ones who are suffering the most.
Yes.
The people are also suffering as a result of what we are doing to them.
Of course.
So there, I think it's helping people understand the consequences of what they're doing and how it's coming back to bite us. Not only in the form of personal health, but also in the form of planetary health. And I think the planetary health aspect of it is what is going to create this sense of urgency. Because the planet is literally screaming at us, saying, fire, fire, fire.
Yes.
And so far, the leaders are not paying attention.
No.
And the leaders seem to be more concerned about their own survival as opposed to the rest of us, and maintaining their power structure. So it's really like seeing, they're all going in the wrong direction, and the leaders are way ahead because they're leading us in the wrong direction. And there are some of us who are saying, hey, come along, we are going in the other direction now. Yeah. And so we cannot expect leadership to come from the current leaders in the system.
Yes,
yeah.
I heard this week that the EPA was planning on cutting as much as 65% from their budget. And I agree with you. I've heard it's not the time for government. Government does not seem to be paying attention, but that we as individuals therefore have to step up. And I wonder how you think we as individuals can we get involved in grassroots movements or work with our local governments to play in the driving of climate change and climate action? And how can we collectively restore climate health to the planet despite potential federal setbacks?
Yeah, the setbacks are really telling us that the solution is not going to come from the top down.
No.
Okay, so it's making it very clear. The solution is not going to come from the top down. And it was always the case. So with the cutbacks, it's now becoming obvious. And so more people are now looking for, how do we do this ourselves? And when you look for it, you'll find that every aspect of the transformation that needs to be done is already being worked on. There are organizations working on every aspect of it. I'm seeing organizations working on it. Now, it is just a matter of coordinating all of this and creating a coherent solution that everyone can get behind. And it is based on compassion for all life, compassion for our fellow human beings, compassion for even the leaders, because they're all suffering too. So ultimately, we're not going to refuse them food, right? We also want them to be healthy. So I say the first thing that we need to do as human beings is to become healthy ourselves. So take care of your health and become healthy, because it's like putting on your own oxygen mask when the plane is about to crash, right? You have to put on your own oxygen mask and then help others put on theirs. So when we are healthy, then we can focus on helping others. If you're not healthy, you're going to be focusing on helping yourself, right? So
that explains why a lot of people come to veganism first through their own health issues.
Right.
That's a natural way to get to understanding the deeper connections at a later stage.
Correct.
One step at a time.
Yeah, there are 4 portals into veganism. One is health. The other is environment. The third is ethics. And the fourth is spirituality. And no matter which portal you come to veganism through, you will begin to see all 4 of them eventually. So our journey is really starting from whichever portal we come into to eventually get to all 4. So you will see the intersection of all 4. So within a month after I went vegan, my health improved. And I went vegan for the environment. I had nothing to do with health at that point. But my health improves. I realized that it makes me healthier. And then I saw Earthlings, the documentary, and I was so shocked. So that I was at first ashamed to be part of my species.
Yeah.
How could anybody do this to animals, So the ethical side of it also I began to realize just within a few months after I went vegan. But the spiritual side is the other 4th portal that not many people realize, but it is a significant portal as well. Because a lot of people come to veganism because they want to raise their consciousness.
You're listening to Better Life for Animals podcast. Our mission is to amplify the voices of animal advocates, sanctuaries, and changemakers working toward a kinder, more compassionate world. But we can't do it alone. We need your help. First of all, go ahead and subscribe to this channel wherever you're watching or listening. And then get involved by visiting betterlifeforanimals.com. That's betterlifeforanimals.com. Be sure to check out our blog, learn more about incredible sanctuaries, and explore our book section, where 100% of net proceeds from book sales are donated to sanctuaries. Every action you take helps to make a difference. And remember, subscribe to this channel. And now, back to the show.
And that's the fourth aspect of it.
It's interesting. When my father was alive, he used to say to me, I'm just sometimes ashamed to be part of this human race. And I was in my 30s at the time, and I would think, what are you saying? And it's decades later that I come to understand that while we are capable of good, so often we default to what's convenient, and it saddens me. But I love
Correct.
your take on it. I love your positive message, because in the end, that is the message we all have to lean into, because it just seems to me like at this time, things are being broken. And so in the face of things being broken, maybe this is our time to also, break things and, undo the challenges that we've been, struggling with, and maybe, open people's hearts and souls to, what's going on in the world, because it's time. I feel like this disruption could create an opportunity for good.
Absolutely. To me, it's inevitable that this is going to happen, because nature, I've studied nature now for 20 years and almost continuously. And I claim that nature is the perfect system design. And I'm a systems engineer by profession, and I'm in awe of nature. So I think nature knows exactly what she's doing. And she's just directing us. We're all being woken up at some point. One by one by one, we're being woken up and told to transform from a climate heating phase to the climate healing phase. And it is everything we need to accomplish that transformation, we now have. We have access to healthy plant foods everywhere, even during winter. In cold places, we have supermarkets which have vegetables in them and bananas in them. You couldn't have imagined that 50 years ago.
True.
Today we do. So today we can be vegan everywhere. Whereas 50 years ago, it would have been very difficult. Okay. So we are all, everything that we need to accomplish what we need to do has been given to us now. So it's now, telling people, okay, how do we coordinate this? I also believe that people are doing what they're doing, not because they want to, but because they're in a system. They're playing a role in a system. It's a game. Money is a game. To me, the nation state is a game. It's a story and a game we play. Okay? So we have rules saying you cannot cross this line without a passport. It's just a line on the ground, right? And then we have pieces of paper with pictures of presidents in some places, a queen or a king in another place, which have numbers on them, and we call them money. And that has a certain value. That's a story we tell ourselves. So, and there are rules in the game. If you do this, you get thrown in jail. If you do this, this happens to you. So then we play by those rules. And when we play by those rules, we automatically create the systems of oppression. Because that's the kind of game we are playing. So if you were to change the rules of the game, and if you create a different game, you can create a game in which people automatically are compassionate. People automatically are giving more than they're taking. Right now, we are automatically taking more than we are giving, because that's the system we are in. This is a system that says if you don't take more than what you're giving, you're not making a profit. And it's not sustainable. Okay? So how do you create a system in which you're routinely giving more than you're taking? Now, that's a system design issue. That's the kind of work that I do. And I can tell you how to do that, how to create a game like that.
Please do. Please tell us.
Yeah, we're working on it. Basically, it's See, currently we have in a game in which we have to take more than you're giving, it's a game of scarcity. Okay. So which means that if you don't follow the rules, if you don't do anything, you'll get zero and you're going to starve to death. That's the game we have created. There are 800 million people starving today. And over, about 8 million people die of hunger-related causes every year. So you have to create a game of abundance because we are in a system of abundance. We are in a state of abundance. We have bananas in Stockholm in winter, right? That's it. That's an abundance that we have. So we have an abundance of foods available to us everywhere, an abundance of shelter and clothing available to us everywhere. So our basic needs are met easily. And when your basic needs are met easily, we need to be creating games of abundance in which everyone feels like, gee, I don't have to worry about my basic needs. Now what do I do with my time? So how do I now give more than I take? Because until we routinely give more than we take, the planet is not going to get better. It's only going to get worse. Right?
Yes.
So we have to create a game like that. And there are games that people have already created. I go to this place called Sadhana Forest, where everything is a gift economy. No one pays for anything. You're fed healthy food. If you want to eat unhealthy food, you have to go outside and you have to pay for it.
Okay.
Right? But if you want to eat healthy food, it's there for free. But you are there to restore the forest. Okay. So the gift that people are giving is, where do you want me to plant the trees? Do you want me to help in the kitchen? So people are always doing service to help. So you get into that mindset of giving more than you're taking. That is not a transaction anymore. It's a gift that you're giving, right? And people just automatically fall into it. You bring people and drop them into that place. They know the game you're playing, and they play it.
So it's an abundance mindset, which is an attitude as much as anything, right?
Right.
It's how you perceive your life as much as, we all, where I'm from, we have more than enough, but there's so many people who think they don't have enough, where there are places where they have what appears to be just the basics, and they live in gratitude and therefore they live in abundance. So that it's a shift in mindset.
It's a shift in mindset. It's also a shift in the environment. You have to set up an environment like that so that people feel that. So if they want clothes, they just go there and pick up a pair of clothes. Whatever they want, it's there available to them. So when you have that given to them, they feel secure. And so the community just had, it creates this environment of security for everyone else, for everyone in the community. And then everyone is contributing. So they're constantly giving more than they're taking. And you see the forest come back. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So what do you believe is the tipping point? When I've always heard that when we reach 10%, we'll be able to really impact change at a rapid pace. I still feel like we are. Some days it doesn't seem like we're getting beyond 1 or 2%. But right. Perhaps you know better. You know better.
Well, I say that there are a lot of closeted vegans.
Okay.
And there are a lot of there are conscious vegans. So I divide humanity into two: conscious vegans and closeted vegans. Because when I ask people, would you deliberately hurt an innocent animal unnecessarily? Everyone says no.
Mm-hmm.
Which means everyone is either a closeted vegan or a conscious vegan. Okay. So as conscious vegans, we have to help people come out of the closet.
Okay.
And to do that, we have to be out and proud as conscious vegans. Right? And we have to then, explain to them why it's time to come out of the closet. That this is who we are. And we have to restore the planet. There's a lot of work to be done.
There is a lot of work to be done.
And a lot of animals were suffering. They don't even we have plenty of food available to us. They don't have any food available to them in most places, right? They're dying of hunger. They don't have water available to them. So all the fresh water we have polluted. So there is so much that we have done to destroy their habitat. So they're literally dying in front of our eyes. And I say it's time for us to go help them. And that's what projects like Sadhana Forest are doing. They're bringing back the forest, and they're doing work for the animals. So people are there to serve animals as opposed to the animals serving them.
Yes.
Right? Because it's time to give back.
I like movies and images that show animals for being just as they are because they are, as opposed to animals that are doing something that is cute or in service of humans, because animals have a right to be here all by themselves. And yet living in the urban settings that so many of us do, I find unless it's a dog or a cat, we're disconnected from animals. And that's why one of the things I want to highlight on this podcast is the wonderful work that sanctuaries are doing and the service that they are providing, not just for the animals that they are rescuing, but hopefully to the general population who has an opportunity to see this is an animal in its natural state, and just enjoy it and come and be at peace with it, together, as opposed to it being entertaining for you. Do you ever do any work with sanctuaries, or do you have any connections where you see this kind of work playing out?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There are also, places where they have wild animals being watched through webcams.
Yes.
So webcams that turn on when they detect motion, and then they show you what is there, right? So this is how we know which animals have come back to that region, which animals are still not missing in that area. So by doing that, we are letting the animals be themselves. And we are just witnesses. We have to minimize our interference in their lives, because even animal sanctuaries, we put them in fences and we kind of manage their lives because they are no longer in the natural environment that they were intended to be.
That's true.
So it's about restoring the natural environment for them and then helping them, rehabilitating them back into the natural environment. Because I'd say that we were temporarily a climate heating species. And we have done something absolutely amazing. We have actually heated the planet so that it can never go back to another ice age ever again, as long as we're around. Okay? So now we have to restore the temperature that was there 200 years ago, restore the habitats for all the wild animals, and we can thrive for a long time if we did that. But if we don't do that, we're going to be gone. So I say that gives us this mindset, this focus now on restoring everything on the planet.
Because the planet's going to survive. It's just going to get rid of us, I think.
Well, the planet may or may not survive. Okay, I'm not sure the planet can survive too, because because when we can do things that could make it very hard for life to thrive on the planet. We're already doing a lot of things like that. So it's not clear to me that the planet will survive. At least I cannot guarantee as a systems engineer that the planet will survive.
Okay.
But what I can say is that we have the capacity and we have been given everything we need to help the planet thrive. So we are not lacking anything to help the planet thrive. So it's just not only the consciousness, but also the games we have to change. Because we are still playing the old game of heating, of domination, of one over the other, seeing who is stronger than who. Constantly we do that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we have to get over it. So we have to change our games. We have to change our stories. And that
happens one person at a time.
Well, it can happen very, very quickly, because it's basically game playing and role playing. in games, right? And we love playing games. That's who we are as a species. We play games and we tell stories. And that's how we coordinate our actions among millions and billions of us. So you just have to, buy a new story. That's it. And you play a new game, and that's it. You are now in the new game. And you could say, I like that game better than this game. So I'm not going to play this game anymore. See, now we have, Canada fighting with the US. I mean, all kinds of nonsense going on in the old game. So the old game we can see is just deteriorating in front of our eyes. It's not a game that anybody likes to play anymore, right?
Okay.
So it's okay, because that's the game of endless war, of competition, of wars, of people fighting each other. And who wants to play that game? So you have to tell people, look, we all came from the same mother 200,000 years ago. Okay? We all came from the same mother. And we all came from the same family in Africa 50,000 years ago. It's not that long ago. Before we migrated out of Africa and went to every part of the world. So now we are coming together from around the world, again as one family, but now 8 billion strong.
It seems as though I took a trip last year to South Africa, and I was commenting, I said, this place feels so nice. And they said, that's because this is where we're all from. This is home to everyone. I think what you're talking about is a connection, and it's a feeling that people have once they access that. Once you wake up to this, you don't go back, but you have to wake up. First, you have to wake up.
Right.
So that's our challenge, I think, is to get people to see what's all around them, but they're choosing, for whatever reason, to ignore at this time. I know when the pandemic hit, I wrote a book about the milk that was being poured out because they didn't have the distribution. And I just thought it was tragic, and I was very upset. And so I decided to write a book about it. And now I see it with eggs. And now we're all upset because eggs are high. And I'm reading article after article about it. And it's like, I have an idea. Let's not eat eggs. Let's stop it. Right. But instead, they're killing all these poor birds, and looking to other countries who can provide us with it's every other solution, but to me, which is the obvious one. I saw Mercy for Animals was sending a coupon out that you could get Just Egg, that product that's an egg alternative. And I thought, well, yes, that's a great idea. But I don't know how is this our chance for people to try Just Egg and go, never mind, we didn't need eggs to begin with. That's my hope.
Right. Yeah. No,
that's an individual choice. Sometimes I tell my friends, it's like, you see these pictures, they're tragic, they're awful, and they get upset that maybe I'm showing them. I go, well, that's what the animals are going through.
Right.
And I personally am so thankful that I am not participating in that.
Absolutely.
It's what it is. So it's back to the individual once again, with the governments, at least the local ones are not really focused on this issue at this time. And yet the war that, as you said, the fires are still happening, the floods are still happening. So unfortunately, it seems time is on our side. I would prefer it be sooner rather than later. Because you've mentioned that the leaders will not break the system, but the system must change from the ground up.
Right.
So you're talking about things like a game, just shifting your perspective. Are there any other practical ideas that people can just start today, that they could just go, let's just try this right now?
Yeah, get healthy.
Get healthy. Okay.
Yes. Eat healthy foods, exercise regularly, sleep properly, meditate, overcome stress. So get healthy, and have faith that you've always been a part of nature. You've always belonged. That every one of us belong on this planet.
Yes.
Okay. So that firmness, you need to have that firmness within you, that you belong, that you're rooted, no matter where you are.
And to be able to speak to the truth, say, I am not eating that, it's not vegan, and be proud to say it, Proud to be a
Right.
vegan. Yeah.
Right. Right.
I heard an interview with you and Rich Roll. It was quite some time ago, but I loved your reference with Cinderella. I guess you'd taken your granddaughter to see her, and I found these universal truths to be so touching. So I thought maybe we could revisit what that classic character has been quoted as saying, if you don't mind.
Oh,
Uh,
certainly. Yeah.
okay. Well, Cinderella said, "Have courage, be kind, and all will be well." So, how can we embody these values in our daily lives to create a more compassionate world, especially in times of societal and environmental crisis?
Yeah. It requires courage. It takes courage to be kind when everyone else is doing something cruel around you. That you see,
Yes,
but it takes courage to stand out
it
and be
does.
kind.
It does.
Yeah. So that is something that we need to have. It's only courage that brings out the good in us. See, whatever good you have is latent. It's inside of you if you don't have the courage to do it. So courage is the most important good quality that you can have. Because
Very
without it, none of the other good qualities work.
okay.
So
Because
that's the first
you
one.
don't have, you're too afraid to activate it without.
Right. Yeah. Without
Okay.
courage. So that's the number one. So that's the first Cinderella principle.
Yes. And then another one is have courage, be kind, and all will be well. But then the next one is just because it's what's done doesn't mean it's what should be done.
Correct.
And all that just says basically all the things, just because it's been that way does not make it okay.
Right. So you have to question, all traditions and customs. Every generation has a responsibility to renew their traditions and customs. And you have to be very, very thorough with that, because depending upon the circumstances, the environmental circumstances, that's no longer valid. See, our ancestors probably had a reason to do what they did. But now that we know better, we have to do better. So you have to change, So the traditions have to be renewed by every generation.
Mm.
So that's what that is.
And we are so fortunate to live at a time when we have so many choices.
Right. Yeah.
Yes,
All over the place, right? We have come
absolutely.
together from around the world.
Yes.
Okay. So, and we see what those people are doing, and we see what those people are doing. And then you say, okay, what is the best to do for me here?
Yes. Yes. I like this one too. Imagine the world as it should be, not as it is.
Right. Yeah. What kind of world do you want to see? And then you have to work for that. Because whatever you have in your mind, whatever you can imagine, you can create. Right? We create what we imagine. Without that imagination, there is no creativity.
I find you to be so inspiring. Is there anything that you would like to share that I haven't covered that is on your mind that would be helpful to our listeners today?
Yeah, it's the one I said. I was ashamed to be a member of my species
Oh, yeah.
back in 2008, right?
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah, I was. And then I got over it. And I found recently that a lot of vegans have that mindset still. That they feel like if humans are taken out of the planet will be fine. Or, we are the worst species ever, this kind of thing, right? And I want people to get over that as quickly as possible because it's not true. We belong. And we are a necessary part of the ecosystem of the planet. Because without us, there is no climate regulation on the planet. The planet will go back another ice age again, and it may even die. If it goes too hot, it may die. So I know that the Earth is very close to the inner edge of the habitable zone around the sun. So we know that. And so which means that she's prone to get too hot. And she was trying to regulate her temperature and it became too cold. And it was going between too cold and warm and too cold and then warm. So, and it was warm for very short periods of time. And that's why she spawned us as a species. She gave us everything we need to regulate the temperature of the planet. So we have a job to do. And we need to now recognize that we belong exactly as we are and not to hate other human beings. You know?
I like
So
that. I like
yeah.
that. Yes. We have capabilities, and therefore we have a responsibility to be
Exactly.
stewards of this planet and everything
Absolutely.
that inhabits it. Very
Yeah,
well said.
absolutely.
Yes. Is there any way that we can help you or what you're working on specifically? How can we reach out to you? How can we find you?
Well, climatehealers.org
Okay.
is
Could
our
you
website.
say that again? Spell it out for us.
climatehealers.org.
Okay. Thank you.
And we are going to be posting a courses on how to understanding this new story that we are telling about climate change and why animal agriculture is the leading cause of climate change. So I wrote a paper on that, and I want people to spread that word. And basically, when people realize that climate change can be solved if the world goes vegan, we have a tremendously powerful reason for the vegan transformation to happen very, very quickly.
That's beautiful. So climatehealers.org, check out the new course on how we can heal the planet very quickly.
Yeah, that will come by Earth Day. We are planning to put it up by Earth
Very
Day.
good.
Okay?
All right. Well, I will look for that, and I hope others will as well. It has been just a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much again, and thank you for all that you do in healing the planet.
Thank you for what you do as well, Cheryl. It's so important to spread the word.
Thank you. When we work together, we can get it done.
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay.
You're unstoppable.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on the Better Life for Animals podcast. Together, we can create a world where all beings are treated with dignity, respect, and care. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, rate, and review wherever you're listening. It helps us reach more people and spread awareness about the incredible work happening in animal sanctuaries. You can also share this episode with friends and fellow advocates to keep the conversation going. Until next time, keep speaking up, taking action, and making a difference for the animals.